Imagine your body's filtration system working night and day, quietly removing waste, balancing fluid, keeping your blood clean, and then, without you even realizing, you give it tiny hits, day after day, through some seemingly innocent foods. Foods you might think are harmless. Those hits add up. They strain this system. And that system is your kidneys. In this video, I'm going to take you through 5 foods that if eaten too often can damage your kidneys, not overnight, but gradually, subtly, and perhaps irreversibly if you keep ignoring the signs. So, if you care about your long-term health, your kidneys deserve your attention. Let's dive in. Before we get to the first food, let's talk briefly about why kidneys are so important so you understand what's at risk. Your kidneys are incredible organs. They filter your blood, removing wastes and extra fluid. They help regulate your blood pressure. They balance minerals like sodium, potassium, phosphorus. They even produce hormones that help your bones stay strong and your red blood cell production stay healthy. When they get overworked or gradually damaged, a lot of consequences follow. Waste builds up, fluid retention, mineral imbalances, high blood pressure, bone problems. The tricky part? Kidney damage often has no symptoms in the early stages. So you might be damaging them without realizing. Many diet and lifestyle choices that seem harmless actually place an extra burden on your kidneys. The good news? You can reduce that burden. And this video is about limiting 5 common foods that can do more harm than you think. Let's start with the most familiar culprit, salt, or more precisely, high sodium loads, especially from processed, packaged, convenient foods. Here's why it matters. Too much sodium raises your blood pressure. High blood pressure is one of the major causes of kidney damage. Research by the National Kidney Foundation highlights that diets high in sodium increase blood pressure and harm kidney function. National Kidney Foundation. Now think about your everyday diet: canned soups, frozen dinners, processed meats, snack chips, pickles, condiments, even bread and sauces. Many of these are loaded with sodium and the kidneys are working harder every time your blood pressure is pushed higher. Here's a scenario: you pick up a packet meal because it's convenient. You don't think much of the salt. But over weeks, months, years, the constant extra load adds up. The kidneys keep working, filtering, balancing. But they're under strain. So what to do? A few tips: choose fresh, unprocessed foods when possible. Read the nutrition labels, aim for lower sodium versions of canned or processed items. Use herbs, spices, citrus juices instead of extra salt for flavor. Limit snack foods, processed and preserved meats. By reducing sodium, you relieve your kidneys, protect their filtering function, and reduce blood pressure, which in turn protects kidney health. Next, the protein question. Protein is essential, no question. But too much, especially certain kinds of animal protein or processed meats, can strain your kidneys. According to the NKF's Nutrition and Kidney Disease Guidelines, plant-based protein is easier on the kidneys than meat proteins because meat proteins produce more acid in the body, and acid load can damage the kidneys over time. National Kidney Foundation. Also, processed meats, bacon, sausages, deli meats, carry extra sodium, preservatives, nitrates, plus a heavy dose of protein and often saturated fat. All of that adds burden to the kidneys. If you already have any reduced kidney function, or high blood pressure, or diabetes, which all affect the kidneys, this becomes even more important. So what to do? Balance your protein intake. Make sure you're not overdoing it. When you do have animal proteins, choose lean cuts. Include more plant-based proteins, beans, lentils, pulses, which are gentler on kidneys. Limit processed meat entirely or treat it as an occasional treat, not a daily habit. By doing this, you reduce kidney workload and protect long-term function. Third on our list, soda, especially dark-colored sodas and other beverages are foods that contain hidden phosphorus additives. You might think, but I'm healthy, I drink soda occasionally. That's true, but the issue is frequent consumption, hidden additives, and how they silently affect kidney health. For example, the article from Medical News Today notes that dark-colored drinks often contain added phosphorus, in the form of phosphoric acid, which is highly absorbable and burdens kidneys when they have to remove extra minerals. Medical News Today. Also, another source says drinking 2 or more diet sodas a day may raise your risk of chronic kidney disease. WebMD.com. Why is this bad? When kidneys are forced to remove extra phosphorus, over time bone health, cardiovascular health, and kidney filtration get compromised. So what to do? Minimize dark cola and other sodas, especially if you drink them every day. Be aware of phosphate or phosphoric acid in ingredients lists. Replace sodas with water, herbal tea, sparkling water, fresh juice diluted with water. By cutting back on this type of drink, you're giving your kidneys a break and reducing mineral burden. Fourth, foods high in potassium, especially when eaten too often, especially if your kidneys are already under stress. Potassium is essential, it regulates muscle contractions, nerve signals, fluid balance. But if your kidneys are weakened, they may not be able to remove excess potassium, leading to high levels in the blood, which is serious. CDC, some high potassium foods include bananas, oranges or orange juice, potatoes, tomatoes, whole grain bread, avocados. For most healthy people, these are fine, but the problem is when you already have reduced kidney function, or you're eating large quantities daily without variety. For example, you might love bananas and have 2 or 3 each day, plus orange juice, plus a sandwich on whole grain bread. Over time that adds up. What to do? If you've been told you have kidney issues or reduced kidney function, check with a dietitian or doctor about your potassium intake. Choose moderate potassium alternatives, apples, grapes, berries, cauliflower. Rotate your fruits and veggies so you're not getting the same high potassium ones every day. Be mindful especially about combined sources of potassium, food, drink, snacks, rather than just one single food. By managing potassium intake when needed, you help avoid overloading the kidneys and safeguard heart and muscle function too. Finally, number 5, ultra-processed foods and fast foods. This category overlaps with some earlier points, sodium, phosphorus, protein, but it deserves its own mention because the damage comes from multiple angles: high sodium, hidden phosphorus additives, high unhealthy fat, refined carbs, and minimal nutrients. An article in the Times of India, citing a nephrologist, warns that the modern processed diet rich in sodium, sugars, unhealthy fats, phosphates is silently harming kidneys even in young and middle-aged adults without classic risk factors. The Times of India. Why does this matter? Because kidneys are filtering, balancing minerals, coping with wastes. When diet is littered with additives, high loads, toxic byproducts, the cumulative effect over time is a higher risk of kidney strain or damage. What to do? Minimize fast foods, ready-to-eat meals, frozen dinners, heavily processed snacks. Opt for whole food meals, vegetables, fruits, lean proteins, whole grains, but moderate those high potassium/high phosphorus ones. Read labels, avoid items with phosphates, sodium, preservatives in high amounts. Treat processed foods as occasional, not daily. By shifting away from ultra-processed, you remove many hidden kidney-burdening factors at once. Now you might be thinking, I'm fine. I don't have kidney disease. I can eat these sometimes. And yes, you absolutely can. The key words here are too often and excessive. The kidneys can handle normal loads in healthy people. But when you repeatedly challenge them day after day, year after year, the risk builds. Think of it like walking a tightrope. 1 or 2 steps is fine. But the longer you're on the rope without support, the greater the risk of fall. High blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, smoking, all these already raise risk for kidney disease. When you combine them with poor diet and high-burden foods, you accelerate potential damage. So these 5 foods, or categories, are not evil in isolation, but frequent, heavy consumption without counterbalancing healthy choices is something to watch. Let's quick recap of the 5 foods. 1. High sodium or heavily processed salty foods raise blood pressure, strain kidneys. 2. Excess animal or processed proteins, kidney workload increases. 3. Dark-colored sodas or phosphorus additives, hidden mineral load. 4. High potassium foods eaten excessively without balance, especially if kidney function compromised, risk of electrolyte imbalance. 5. Ultra-processed or fast foods, multiple burdens on the kidneys from sodium, additives, fat, minimal nutrients. Let's shift now to the positive. How can you eat proactively to protect your kidneys? A kidney-friendly approach doesn't mean bland or boring, it means thoughtful. Here are general guidelines you can follow: plenty of fresh fruits and vegetables, but if you have known kidney issues, rotate in moderate high potassium ones. Lean, plant-based proteins more often: beans, lentils, chickpeas, tofu, with occasional lean animal protein. Choose whole grains wisely, some are higher in phosphorus or potassium than you think, e.g. brown rice, so moderate accordingly. Stay well hydrated, water is your kidney's friend. Limit added salts, sauces, processed meals. Limit sugary beverages and sodas. Work on controlling your blood pressure, blood sugar, weight. These systemic issues directly affect kidney health. By combining good diet, hydration, healthy weight, and lifestyle, you relieve your kidneys, not overburden them. Even with the best intentions, it's helpful to keep an eye on your kidney health. Some general signs that your kidneys may be under stress, though not always obvious, include elevated blood pressure, changes in urination, more or less, foamy urine, dark-colored, swelling in legs, ankles, around the eyes, fluid retention, fatigue, weakness, poor appetite. Protein in the urine, microscopic but detectable by test. If you have risk factors, diabetes, hypertension, family history, age, it's wise to get kidney function checked, blood and urine tests. Early detection is key, and diet changes work better when started early. I'm young and healthy, why worry now? Good question. Because kidney damage is often silent and builds over time. The earlier you protect them, the longer they work well. Isn't fruit always good? Why worry about potassium? Yes, fruits are good, but when kidneys don't clear potassium as efficiently, excess potassium can become risky. If you have healthy kidneys, this might not apply, but if any warning signs exist, it's worth moderating. But I eat processed foods only sometimes. That's totally okay. The key is frequency. Occasional is fine, habitual is the issue. Can I reverse kidney damage by changing diet? Some damage is irreversible, but progression can be slowed or often stopped. Taking action earlier is far better than later. The message: you don't need perfection. You need awareness and consistent better choices to give your kidneys a break. Here are 5 practical tips you can use this week. 1. Track your sodium for 2 to 3 days, note how many salty or processed items you ate. Then pick one high sodium item and swap it for a fresh alternative. 2. Choose one day this week without any soda or sweetened drink and replace with water or unsweetened tea. 3. Add one plant-based protein meal, beans or lentils, in place of animal protein this week. 4. Rotate your fruits or vegetables. If you normally have bananas or potatoes a lot, try apples or cauliflower instead for some days. 5. Cook at home one extra time instead of ordering fast or processed food. Use simple, fresh ingredients, know what goes into your meal. These may seem small, but over time they add up. Small changes bring big impact. Your kidneys are silent heroes. They're doing work all the time, behind the scenes, so you can live, move, breathe, flush waste, maintain balance. We don't often think about them until something goes wrong. But you can protect them by being intentional about your diet and lifestyle. By being aware of the 5 foods or categories we discussed, and by making smarter choices, you're giving your kidneys the support they deserve. Protecting your kidneys is not just about avoiding damage, it's about enabling them to serve you well for years to come. So start today. A little change today might make a big difference tomorrow. Thanks for listening. If you found this helpful, please hit like, subscribe, and share so others can protect their kidney health too. See you in the next video.